Welcome to the 2026 first episode of Commanders Forever Training Camp Special with Sakina and her dad.
And two special guests who will introduce themselves.
I'm Ali Zedi.
And he is a very diehard fan who has never not had season tickets. The day he was born, he watched the Commanders win.
And then the other guest is my brother.
I am Nabeen Hussein.
And what qualifies you as an expert to be on our podcast, sir?
I have cheered for the Redskins since I was born in 1971 with my brother.
Okay, now we just went to training camp and we're in a restaurant recording this right now. And we're trying to get to a lot of subscribers so that we can get a media pass and get on the field like those two little kids at training camp today. Anyways.
And they were talking to Jaden Daniels for 25 minutes.
So I'm going to ask my first question to Zeus. What was your favorite part about this David Blau's new offense, and what was the biggest thing you noticed compared to last year?
Yeah, the biggest thing I noticed and what I liked was seeing a lot more trick plays. That's something that I hadn't seen a lot in the past. I feel like we'll see that more in games this year, and that's something that's going to be a big advantage for us going into the season.
From this training camp session that we went to today, what trick play did you see that was impressive to you?
There was one. Yeah, there was a toss, I believe. Oh yeah, it was like the Amon-Ra play. It was a good toss, and then we threw a touchdown. So that's something that I think is going to be big this year, to score points on trick plays.
Okay, now time for B, that's his basketball name. We're going to call him B, and Zeus is Ali Zedi. So basically, B, when you saw offensive linemen practicing throwing passes, quarterbacks throwing offensive lineman passes in the end zone, what did you notice and take away from that?
Well, Sakina, I'm going to be a little critical here in that I think the offensive line of the Commanders is maybe its weakest part because they don't have a good center. And basically, every time I saw the quarterback drop back, he had at least 20 or 30 seconds to throw the ball. No pressure at all. So to me, it wasn't much of a practice when they didn't account for the fact that you only have 2 seconds to throw the ball in the NFL.
Okay, to add on to that, we're going to ask Zeus another question now. Zeus, when you saw the offense playing 7-on-7s with no pressure, was it concerning at all to see how long it was taking receivers to get open, even though some of the starters were in the game?
Yes, Sakina, it was very concerning to me, and I feel like we can add another receiver to the room, hopefully someone like Stephon Diggs.
Well, Stephon Diggs did actually sign with the Commanders today. He definitely would be a very good piece to have in our very new advanced offense. He definitely can learn it because he was an elite receiver in this league. He still would be a very good wide receiver too for us to have. It's really good news to hear. We in fact for a while in this episode we're talking about the receiver help, the need for more receivers. But anyways, we'll get back to this right now. I did notice that Giammi Brown was dropping a lot of balls, but his route running was really good. He was beating defenders because of his speed. Now I'm going to lead me my next question for B. How did you feel about the speed? It was very obvious that we were quicker and younger than last year.
That I would have to agree with. We were definitely faster, so it was awesome to see not some old people with degenerated knees running around the field.
I would concur with that. From our seats, you could basically see that on defense, the center of gravity was Sonny Styles. He was like a black hole filling up the middle of the field, and everything sort of revolved around him and put a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks when they were trying to throw the ball. They were thrown under pressure today, even in camp.
Okay, Zeus, what do you think our weakest position is based on what you saw today?
Based on what I saw today, I would say cornerback is probably our weakest position. I would say there were times where guys were catching touchdowns, and that was a little bit concerning because I feel like, the quarterbacks need to stick to the receiver a little bit longer. And that's something that I want to see improve, maybe adding someone like 26+Diggs, for example.
All right, let's go back to my compatriot here and ask him what he thought about the running backs. There were some breakout plays today that we saw. Was there anything that especially caught your attention? I want to focus your thoughts on one play in particular where there was a scuffle and there was an explosion of I thought a fight was going to break out. What the heck happened on that play? Do you remember that?
I have no idea what happened on that
Okay,
play.
I'll answer the
But
question then.
I love the fight.
Okay, basically the play that my father is describing is basically K-Train Allen.
Fat man.
He's not fat. He's very thin and shifty and muscular. Anyways, he juked a few defenders. Very good showing of change of direction. But the problem was his awareness was low because he juked a few people. He was probably very happy mentally thinking he's going to get a touchdown. And then the defender came blowing in from the side and to hit K-Train Allen out of bounds. And it started a little bit of a fight on the field for 5 seconds. But he needs to be aware even if he does good. He got 15 yards maybe on the gain. But you got to be more aware of who's there.
I'm going to ask B this question. You're an athlete. You've played in sports. You've had collisions. You've been in the heat of the game. Psychologically, when you see a fight break out like that, are you worried when you see that? What are your thoughts?
No, I'm actually excited because it shows the passion of the players. They're balling out there and they want to impress that new coordinator, David Blau.
So for you, Wasim, I have a question. So we saw the tight ends out there today. What did you think of guys like Chiga Okonkwo, Colson Yankoff, and John Bates?
Well, John Bates was injured, so I don't think he was out there. And Colson Yankoff, when we saw activity from him, the truth is we saw it with the second and third line players. But man, Chiga Okonkwo is a big man. He is. I hate to say it, but he's an upgrade over our great friend Zach Ertz. So I think we are in a very strong position with Chig. He's going to be a big part of the offense. Jaden was clearly throwing the ball to him. First look, second look throughout the entire game. Well, mine is a minority opinion, but I believe Dyami Brown is a legit wide receiver 2, not a wide receiver 3.
Well, this hot take basically ended when we signed Stephon Diggs. But Dyami Brown definitely has the capabilities to play wide receiver 2. He just isn't there yet. He could develop into some sort of wide receiver 2 type of person in the future. But for now, Stephon Diggs is definitely our wide receiver 2. But then we have a stacked wide receiver room out of that because we have a lot of people that could potentially play wide receiver 2 but never really stepped up. And so basically kind of a lot of wide receiver 3s. We have Antonio Williams, Traylon Burks. We have Luke McCaffrey. Even you could say Chris Moore. And we have and Dyami Brown. So we have tons of receivers that can definitely come in the game a lot. Today I noticed there was a lot of substitutions because we were trying to give a lot of receivers chances. Antonio Williams being a wide receiver 3 is pretty scary, which is why I think this move was actually an amazing pickup to sign him. And once we see the contract details, we'll see how good we got this deal.
I have one final comment before we wrap up this episode. You guys, you have challenged my thinking on Dyami Brown, and I'm coming your way. I saw him today in the end zone drop an open pass. That was
okay.
bad.
Wait, before you. That was, first of all, that was a perfect pass from Marcus Mariota. That was literally, couldn't have been a better pass. No one could have made a better pass. Maybe Jaden's the only person in the world that could have had a more accurate pass than that. It was such an amazing pass. And he was, also out of the pocket under pressure. That was a great throw. But basically, Dyami Brown, both Mike Sanisro and I think that Hamilton dude who's, really bad and has only ever knows the word of getting burned in his life. But, they were both on Dyami, and he jumped over them, and he elevated. And I think that's not something he had the skill set when he was with us, and he probably picked that up in Jacksonville. Because he can jump really high now, but he just has to learn how to come down with the ball, and that's a touchdown. But that's also the concerning part. B, how is that concerning that the corners just got burned like that, just got jumped over? Short Mike Sanisro.
They're just not performing up to the standards. It's just no good.
Okay.
There's something wrong with Durante Jones.
Oh, that's true because he was in Minnesota and the defensive line is performing well, but the corners aren't, just like in Minnesota. Okay. Lastly, who do you think each of us think who the best like rising player could be? Like, this year, like maybe a new player. I think Antonio Williams, like he was really good in motion, but I think Luke's gonna have a big breakout year. That's who's gonna have a breakout year.
Yeah, I was actually going to say Antonio Williams. I think that was a very good draft pick. He's someone who's fast. His route running's pretty good, and he has good hands. So I think he's going to be a big player for us.
Sonny Styles. The end.
I don't think I saw him on the field today, but I think Owe, our great free agent, is actually going to be a breakthrough player this year.
I saw Owe like one time at some point, and all I saw, but it was like during some drill. And he just like went and pushed into like an offensive lineman or something. But it was like I saw a burst of energy. He definitely speedy and young. Okay, that's the end of our episode. And we're gonna have these two special guests again on our episode in the future.
By popular demand.
Yep, because we're gonna get on that field and interview Sonny Styles and he can sign our stuff.